Hey there, welcome to First Five. If you're looking for encouragement, you came to the right place. Let's dive in. You know, in a society that prioritizes and celebrates its freedom, words that even sound like control scare the crap out of us. Like, we do not like to be controlled. We do not like to be told what to do. We have an overarching issue with authority, especially in the Western world. But I'd argue that every single person has a bit of rebellion in them. Would you agree? That's why words like instructions and decrees and commandments all trigger our stress levels and cause our blood pressure to rise just a little bit, because fundamentally, I think we all have a little bit of an issue with authority. Maybe it's because we've seen a lot of abuse of it, right? A lot of abuse of authority. We can talk about how governments all over the world have often used laws and decrees to harm and to hurt and to crush those in which the majority of people in any given society have disliked or disagreed with. We've seen churches intentionally and unintentionally misuse rules and regulations as a standard of holiness, a barrier to entry to the faith, adding human complexity and legalism to a perfect, simple gospel. We've seen authority misused and abused by people we trust, basically, and leaders we look up to. So no wonder the words, instructions, decrees, and commandments make us feel anxious, make us feel a bit afraid. But how many of you know that there is no fear in perfect love? Matter of fact, perfect love casts out all fear. And if love is the primary emotion of God and his reasoning for doing everything he does, then his instructions, his decrees, and his commands must come from one source, love. And listen, the love of God has the power to make the bad good, the wrong right, and the dead living. Can I show it to you? Psalm 19, verses 7 to 8. And it says, "The instructions of the Lord are perfect, reviving the soul. The decrees of the Lord are trustworthy, making wise the simple. The commandments of the Lord are right, bringing joy to the heart. The commands of the Lord are clear, giving insight for living." The instructions of the Lord are perfect. They do not feel that way. Is that blasphemous to say? Like maybe you feel like you've got to jump through all these religious hoops to get to God. Like you got to read 6 chapters of the Bible a day and pray for an hour every morning just to stay close to God. You got to join 3 small groups and pour out your heart every week to every person, so you have the utmost of accountability for every person in your group, in every group. Like, it's crazy. And of course I'm exaggerating. Like there's nothing inherently wrong with those practices. It's just when those practices become the pinnacle of Christian existence that it becomes more difficult to see Jesus through it. I'll say it like this. When the religious practice become have-tos instead of get-tos, you've lost sight of who this is all about. You see, the problem with legalism is that its rules are only as good as you are perfect. And you're not perfect. I'm not perfect. There is no way that we can do all that God has asked us to do perfectly without messing it up, without sinning, without missing the mark. And that's why God sent his son to be the perfect example, the perfect sacrifice for all the times when we fell short of perfection, which is all the time. The rules of legalism are only as good as you are perfect, and you are not, but God is. The instructions of the Lord are perfect, and in their perfection they revive our souls. The instructions of the Lord bring order to our chaos-infused lives, like they revive, spring to life our senses, our mind, our will, our emotions. The instructions of the Lord are perfect, and in their perfection they bring guidance and peace to our chaotic hearts. You may feel like you can't trust the rules and the regulations of man or the people around you, but listen, you can trust God's. His decrees are trustworthy, and then they bring wisdom when followed and lived out. The commandments of the Lord are right in a world gone wrong, and they bring joy to our hearts. Jesus says, if you love me, obey my commandments. It's a get to, not a have to. When we say yes to Jesus, we're saying yes to what he's called us to do. I know I've said this before, but the call to follow Jesus is a call to obedience. And I'm willing to do anything for anyone who gave their life for me. That's what Jesus did. He gave his life for you. For me. It's for love's sake that he died. Because Jesus loves you, he gave up his life for you. And truly, all he asks from us in return is belief. All he's asking from us is belief. But I'll be honest with you, there's nothing in my life, at least I'll speak for me, I can't speak for you. There's nothing in my life that I believe in that has not profoundly shaped the way that I act, behave, and live. That's the power of belief. And through the power of the Spirit that lives inside of you, when you believe, you can live out these instructions, these decrees, and these commands. And listen, watch how they change your life. Like, watch how much kinder you become. Watch how much more brave you become, how much more loving you are as a result of living out what Jesus has called you to. Because of the love of Jesus, have-tos become get-tos and want-tos that revive the soul, bring wisdom to the mind, joy to the heart, and clarity and insight for your life. We get to. I really hope that encouraged you today. We'll talk soon.